This is not gentrification. Gentrification has been going on in Jersey City for the last 40 years. This right now is starting to be a remigration for people of color, starting to move back to the South for less cost and everything, right? Like, if you're not making $200,000 a year, do not move to Jersey City.
Yeah.
And you still might be struggling. That's the truth to it. If you're not making that type of wealth, right, you can't afford to live in Jersey.
Welcome to Let's Talk About It, where you play to win. The price of success, failure, and starting over. A real estate investor, entrepreneur, business coach, funding and credit expert, Mr. Biz Connect, the next door mogul, and the wolf of wholesaling when it comes to all types of business. I welcome Bruce Alston. Bruce,
Thank you,
what's
Jim.
going on, brother? How are you, man?
Hey, man, I feel good.
I'm
Great
sure.
to be here. Long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I know of you about 7-8 years when you were here,
Yep.
where we're recording. You were doing the Launchpad events.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how much has changed from that, man?
You know what? A lot has changed.
Okay. Let's
You know,
talk about it.
I tell people COVID was real.
Mm-hmm.
COVID was real. It changed the way that we all do business. You know, I mean, from it being from everything mostly virtual to like in real estate, who would ever think that we wouldn't be going to title companies or lawyers
Right.
to close deals anymore?
Right.
The invention of Zoom, you know, and the invention of really content creation, podcasts really boomed during COVID.
Right.
So a lot has changed, man.
Yeah. That's what brings us today, right?
Absolutely.
Because you've seen what podcast is doing. You've seen how one gets their message across through various platforms.
Absolutely.
And this is a good form of, speaking truth to what one believes in, right?
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man.
I follow your content. I follow the various different people. I'll be like, how did Jimmy find that?
Well, you got to mix it up a little bit. And we got to shout out Jason Stolowski, right? We got
Yes.
a mutual friend.
Our boy.
Yeah, our boy Jason, and then Steve Phillip, right?
Yep.
We got to mention him
Yep.
too, because
Yes.
this is important. He's probably going to share that with those in the circle. He's in
Exactly.
New York now, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's a good thing. So, look, man, you're an entrepreneur. I've not watched you from inception, but I've seen what you've done part of your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I ask you this: what's the cost of running too fast?
The cost of running too fast, it requires a certain amount of discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
I myself,
Mm-hmm.
I think that me running too fast, right,
Mm-hmm.
almost cost me my freedom. Just being 100% honest. Like my story is a very public story, right? You know, you make one mistake or you write something off like, hey, something that I was involved with maybe 6 or 7 years previously
Right.
ended up showing at my door one day. If I would have took a good friend of mine advice,
Right.
I would have been on the offensive instead of the defensive.
Okay, let's talk about that.
You know,
Okay.
So I got involved in buying a piece of property in Jersey City, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the time when, that old 2008 bubble came and foreclosures stayed around forever.
Right.
So around 2012, there was a deed restriction on the property, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to buy this bank-owned property from Wells Fargo.
Right.
So you needed the money to buy the property, right?
Right.
What I did was highly unethical, right? But many people in the real estate business do it. Not saying it's legal, it's unethical. I had a funding company, right,
Right.
that was willing to loan me transactional funding to purchase a property that I only needed 30 days seasoning on.
Right.
So this company turns around, they'll loan you money for 30 days.
They'll provide
There's
liquidity.
Yep. Right, okay. When I bought the property from the bank, right,
Mm-hmm.
I did 7 to 8 previous deals with this company too. When I turned around and I bought this property from the bank,
Mm-hmm.
they supplied the funding. I had the back end buyer.
Right.
Okay.
So you were good.
It was good.
Right.
No problem. What happened was, and this is court records. Anyone can look into it. I bought a property that was foreclosure, 560 Bramhall Avenue.
Okay.
What I didn't know when I bought that property from Wells Fargo, they didn't disclose that there was oil contamination at the property. So when my end buyer went to buy that property 30 days later, we do a walkthrough. We smell oil in the basement. They killed the deal. which was Dixon Leasing.
Right.
So this transactional funding company, me and them, we're both on the hook for this now.
Right.
It ended up starting to be where we were allies. We both got duped. I did some research. I even saw where Wells Fargo listed the property at one time, noting the oil contamination. Then they relisted it without that notation on it. So, make a long story short, we have to sue Wells Fargo.
Wow.
Okay. So, at that time, I had a couple of dollars. I put up $20,000 and retained a lawyer that that was the lender's lawyer, and the lender told me to use. I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus, but to tell my story, I think I have to do it. The attorney's name was Paul DiGiacomo.
Okay.
Paul's a very nice guy, right? But what I didn't know is when I retained Paul, that a week later, about 2 weeks later, he pleaded guilty and went to jail.
Ooh.
On something totally separate. Okay. So now I'm looking at the lender, which was Alston Equities, and I say, hey, this is your guy. What's going on? Oh, we didn't know this. Well, you have to retain another lawyer. No. If we're partners in this, I already paid $20,000.
Right. Pony up your equity now, right?
Yeah.
It's only right.
Only right. So it started to become a real back and forth, F you. We stopped speaking for about 4 years.
Wow.
Alston Equities found out that I was running for political office. They called the political opponent of mine. Hey, we got some dirt on Bruce Alston. Him not running for re-election.
He was in the clear, but
called me on the phone and said, hey, I want to give you a heads up. I said, man, I ain't worried about them. Well, they took it a step further. They went and pursued legal action. We were already in civil court with each other.
Right.
They decided to pursue criminal action. And this is what
criminal action based off of civil liabilities. Wow.
My hands ain't clean, Jimmy. This is where I made a mistake. When I presented to Wells Fargo a proof of funds, I created one. That's running too fast. I altered one. That was my mistake. Here's the other thing. I did 7 or 8 other deals with this same lender that were all successful.
Never had an issue up until that.
So meanwhile now, each deal gets looked up and I used an altered.
So let me ask you a question.
Bank statement.
So did you, when you say altered bank, did you also have these entities in different LLCs?
Yeah, different LLCs.
Okay.
So I used a different bank statement because I knew I was flipping out. Right. So, but I instead of just getting a proof of funds, this is what happens though. When you use transactional funding, you sent them the whole package.
Right.
I sent this lender the package with my phony bank statement, the one I altered.
Right.
They used that against me. Now, here's the thing. That should have been no surprise to them because they know I needed the money for them. If I had the money, why would I be using that?
You were out of cash. You needed to pony up, and you knew this next deal would get you to the next level. So you just needed that cover. So therefore, you did what you needed to do.
I did, exactly. Here's the thing. The lender actually knew that I gave Wells Fargo
phony bank statement.
A phony bank statement, just a one page, saying I had 100,000 and saying I had 90,000.
Right.
Like, that's running too fast. That's moving too fast. The lender himself could have gave me a proof of funds, right? But I know the bank rather see cash, rather see a bank statement. So what happens now, when he shows that to the authorities, he's altering document.
Right.
That's where everything
happen.
Things happen.
And so to what Bruce is saying, right? Back then things were a little different. I mean, some are still doing it now, right? And this is what I like about this show, right? Talk about the wrong and making it right. This was a situation that happened because he was jammed up and he felt, let me just do this one more thing, get me out of this situation. I have partners, they're not addressing the liquidity. I'm on the hook. I have a client that can't get this and they're coming after me. That means I have to go to the other party that put me in this jammed up situation. And just like that, because you see short-term things, you're like, all right, let me just do this. Let me patch this. Let me patch that. And this cost your reputation.
Cost me reputation.
Your name.
My name. And when you're elected, when you're trying to run for,
that's going to come back.
That's going to come back. Right. Now, am I thinking about something at the time, something I gave them 6-7 years ago? I'm not.
You're not looking for.
I'm not looking.
Right.
Here's the thing. Wells Fargo refused to charge me with anything. They refused to file charges against me. They basically said they kind of know to stay in practice.
Right.
As long as they got paid, it wasn't a problem. But at the same time, I bought a piece of property from them that was contaminated. Now, here's the thing: what I tell most people, what I'm most fortunate about was I was able to hire. Never been in trouble, right? I was able to hire not just one lawyer, but a few lawyers on my case. And they really helped me get the help I needed, right? Give me the best advice, try to get this behind me, whatever, right?
Let me ask you a question. A quick message from me. If you've been listening to this podcast, you already know that I believe in one thing. Your next mortgage should start with a conversation, not an application. Everybody's financial situation is different, whether you're buying your first home, purchasing an investment property, renovating a home, planning for retirement, self-employed. It's not one size fits all. My role is to help you build the right mortgage strategy based off your goals and finances. If you're looking for education and honest advice, I invite you for a complimentary session with me. You will find the link in my show notes and episode description. Again, your next mortgage should start with a conversation, not an application. Now let's get back to the show. When you were going through this, 5 years now, did you see the warning signs?
Give me the timeline now. You're saying now.
When all this happened, right?
Okay, that was this, we're talking about 10 years ago.
10 years ago. But when you're in this process, when you saw like things were not lining up with that business transaction, did you see any type of warning like, oh my God, this is a bad deal. Let's see if we can get this? Because you said in the beginning, Wells Fargo knew about this, but they did remove it.
Yeah. You know what?
Your gut feeling didn't come into play. Like, let's put a little devil's advocate in it, right? Let
me tell you what kind of, I call it the deal of hell, because it went from buying this foreclosure for a great deal. Brownstone.
Right.
A brownstone.
In Jersey.
In Jersey City.
It's a great look.
A great look.
Right.
I'm getting it for $133. I'm selling it for $210. I'm making a $70K rep in 30 days.
Right.
Because they don't loan the money unless I have an end buyer for it.
Right.
Now, when I started seeing a problem, you get one lawyer, he goes to jail. You get a second lawyer, he tragically dies.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
You know what I mean? He tragically dies. You know what I mean? Like unexpected, great lawyer.
Right.
Then it becomes, what's going on here? Like this one property, like, you know,
right.
It got to the point when I really know it was bad, Jimmy, let me tell you when I really know it was bad, is when Wells Fargo, when I was taking them to court for the case, right? For the contamination, right? They brought an expert in that came in and checked out the oil contamination. Because the oil contamination didn't start at my property, it started from the adjoining property.
Oh, I see.
Here's the crazy part. When I went to go look at the sheriff's sale action, right? The judge noted oil contamination because the seller, the owner, tried to cite that why he couldn't sell the property. Judge circled that in the foreclosure order and everything. But here's the weird part. Wells Fargo's lawyers, right? And it's where I say, like, if me and the lender would have stayed united, would have been victorious. When they came out to do their inspection, they stated that they believed that I poured motor oil down the closet.
They were trying to get it out at that point, right? I mean,
but why would I do that? I'm making $80,000, $90,000 30 days later, right? The owner of the property next door, right? He even provided me with proof that his homeowner's insurance paid it off to the previous owner.
Yeah, at the time they were just trying to cut looses and just like keep it moving.
Exactly.
And so to that point, and I tell, those who out there, glorifying it's easy to buy flip homes and all that stuff. do understand it's so important to have a good lawyer, a good inspector, and know the town governance, because you will get jammed up. And this is why Bruce is here talking about what took place, so you never have to go through what he goes through. Because at the time he was younger. At the time he had different influences. At the time he wasn't thinking 7-8 years out.
Yep.
Coming on, let's talk about it, right? This was never and because of these shortcomings, this created a problem. And sometimes it's hard to rebrand something, but we're going to talk about the journey of where you're at today with it. But to the point is, I'm happy you're in a better situation now, right? And you see things holistically, like, look, if there's an opportunity, though the carrot may be right there, don't keep your eye on that. Keep your eye on where you can plant seeds for the carrot to be right there. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have is your name.
But I want to add one other thing now. One of the most important things I heard about, I thought about, right, is I look at some of the people that are in our real estate space, right, and I say, it's documented. It was $133,000. You and I both know in real estate that's no money.
That's peanuts.
That's no money.
Right.
Like other investors that I dealt with, they saw that and like, nah, I've known Bruce. It's something bigger than $133,000, right? But what bothers me more, right, is that I see, right, people who don't look like us, right, that don't look like us, and their names are in things for 15 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, right?
Right.
And somehow they can just clear it away and it's not brought up. Like, I was doing a flip one day, right? A lender saw it was a wholesale deal. He asked, who's Bruce Alston? Why I can't do this deal? Because he's just wholesaling it to me. Because I'm done. That's the scrutiny that you take.
You know, I would love to say that it doesn't happen. I will tell you this. With time, as we become more prominent in the space we're in, I can't wait to have him on this podcast. His name is Welby.
Okay.
At my best. He loves portfolio, homes, investing. He speaks about it. He lived, died, breathes. Everything you mentioned about it. And he talked about some of his failures to what you were saying and to what he had to deal with to get to the level where he's at.
If you haven't failed, you haven't lived.
Right. That part. And
if you haven't failed, you haven't lived. I tell everybody that.
And that's what it is, right? And it's unfortunate we hold fear to so much that we don't want to do anymore with life. Like, and that compound stress that looks at you and you're like, oh man. And then when you cast on, damn, I have some regret. I could have done this. I have the education. I have the skill. I'm learning from others like the Bruce. I'm watching that win. I'm watching that fail, and I can put it together. But because of fear, we hold ourselves back.
Like I said, it was very simple. Like, I'm like, I could have just got a proof funds from the lender. Could have did that. Like, but hey, when you're in emotion and you see it, let me do that. Oh, I gotta, and hey, sometimes the man upstairs got to knock you down.
Well, that's when you get closer to faith.
There you go.
God, that's, that's what I've done. I went on retreat to speak out loud. Like, look, I know I can steer this way, but like, look, keep my eye on the ball. This is the man I look up to, and this is where I'm at. So, Bruce, I'm going to ask you this question, man. Is this the time to bet on yourself?
I think it's always the time to bet on yourself.
Okay.
I think you always bet on yourself. But you have to ask yourself, will you bet on yourself?
You're asking yourself that question?
Yeah, I ask myself that question all the time. Like, would I bet on Bruce Alston, right?
Right.
Those who know me, they'll tell you, oh, Bruce is relentless, right? But the one thing I've learned to do is become relentless with better knowledge, right? With more rest, with a much tighter circle, right? But I'm always going to bet on myself. I tell everybody, if you're not betting on yourself, then I don't know what else you bet on. Like, people come to me with ideas and stuff, like, hey, do this, do that. I'm like, if I'm going to do that, I might as well invest that in me. And it's not me wanting to not help someone, because people will tell you, like, I'll pick up the phone and help somebody in a minute, send them a contact. That's not it. But I'm talking about, I bet on myself because you got to want it more than anyone else.
Right.
If you don't want it, you know when you can do something when you can't.
Right. Today, we're seeing businesses grow. We're seeing a lot of, entrepreneurs tap into small businesses, and they're growing their portfolio, rightfully so, right? Learning from other influencers, other business partners, JVing on other things. So we see all that happening. The question I like to know is, at what point do you understand how much more you're making? Because some will take the small things and celebrate it. Look what I got going on, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But you and I both know borrowing money today is not cheap.
It's not cheap.
What would you tell someone out there who's running a small business?
From the startup phase?
From the startup phase, correct.
I think they have to understand one thing. I think most businesses, people don't understand is that you don't own that business owns you. And that business money is the business's money, it's not your money.
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make. And one of the things that I tell people to be very careful about is when they get into business funding. Yes, you can get business credit. Yes, you can get business funding. But that money's for your business, not for your personal.
Right.
It's not for you to go to Louis Vuitton. It's not for you to go on vacation.
You shouldn't commingle those funds.
Okay, and that's one of the biggest mistakes people make is that, and then I think people don't understand is like, when you operate in a business, is that the business made $500 today.
Right.
Bruce didn't make $500. And I would actually say you need to really treat your business finances like your personal. Do I have the first 6 months for the startup? Do I have 4 months of emergency and then build it out? I mean, some people say, fake it till you make it.
Right, right.
Nah.
Yeah, because, what I see a lot, and maybe that's what the algorithm's feeding me, right? But I'm also hearing conversations, right? Where sometimes one is leveraging their income, but then at one point, when does it become dangerous? And you have businesses.
Yep.
You lived through some of the financial hiccups that we've had. And now we're in 2026. You see how the environment has changed. I think some of these numbers are inflated. Because
Absolutely.
we drive down the avenue, like certain people are not going out as like they used to. Some restaurants are not seeing the return they thought they would expect because they're hearing others are doing well, but on the ground on Main Street where you're always at, that's not transitioning to business growth.
I'll tell you a story. My father and uncle were the first African Americans to have a liquor license in Jersey City to own a bar, own a tavern, 1962.
Oh wow, I did not know that. Okay.
Father held on to it for 47 years. My father would always say to me, don't own a bar. It will own you. My father was one, he had bartenders, he treated it like a business, right? I wasn't supposed to, but I was bartending when I was like 13, 14 years old, right?
Them days.
Them days, right? I always joke with my boy Sully about that all the time.
Right.
Because his grandfather owned a tavern. And I tell people that I remember when Martin Luther King Drive, Jackson Avenue, had over about 25, 30 bars, all black owned. Then you probably had another maybe 7 or 8 on Ocean Avenue, right? And I say that to say to people is, those bars made more money then than the bars do today. Because I remember it would go up, people would go up the avenue.
Right.
Wasn't redeveloped or whatever, it wasn't.
Yeah.
People go up, they would bar hop.
Right, they bar hop. Right.
Saturday afternoon, bars are packed.
Right.
But what I told people was, you gotta understand something. The bartenders were all from the community. Maybe a single mother who she's going to bartend while our kids are in school.
Right.
Or she's going to bartend that night.
Right.
So you kept that local economy. You kept the jobs.
Kept the flow. It was all big circles. Kept going around in circles. Right.
Now you don't have that.
You have corporations.
Yeah, like I'm thankful. People should be thankful when you see people like Anthony Sharperson, who's a second generation tavern owner with Cherries.
Okay.
Jermaine at Light Rail. It used to be called the Corner Pocket. His father and some partners owned that back in the day, and it's become a second generation to him.
Right.
I applaud them. But I also know, though, is that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Now, what I've pivoted to, right, is that, and I think I see you doing it, is I think that people have to understand is business is no longer just owning a brick and mortar. No. Like, I'm the product. My knowledge is the product of my businesses.
Right.
You're buying me. You're buying the access to my knowledge, my expertise,
your resources,
my resources.
Right.
I call myself a master networker. If I don't know the person, I'm gonna get to the person.
Right.
You know? So one of the worst things like people like me and you have to do is telling someone, hey, they come to you for advice and tell them, hey, advice and consulting is two different things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. I can give you ABC in about 3 minutes. I might even give you 20 and 30 minutes. But this comes a time now when you want to make that, no, we got to talk numbers now.
Right. Either we got to get together or there's going to be an allocation for your time right now at this point.
Because time is money.
Right.
You know? Hey, I tell people, hey, I said to a young lady one day, let me ask you a question. You and your girlfriends, you go to a bar, you stay there for 3 or 4 hours. How much is the bill? Probably about $150. I said, okay, 3 hours, right? Well, that's my rate, $50 an hour. Hey, they fed you alcohol. I'm feeding you knowledge.
Right. Actually, I know what I'm giving you is going to work. That's a short-term thing right there. That's just making us happy and smile a little bit.
I mean, I'll pay you when it gets, no. Now I'm betting on you. Now I'm betting on you. I can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to give me equity, and I might not really believe in it.
Right.
And there's some people I'll tell them like, hey, I can help you, but I necessarily don't believe this is the right way you should be going.
Right.
But hey, who to me to tell you not to follow your dream?
Hey, look, at the end of the day, if you want something, how much you willing to pay for or get involved with that person to get your return, right? That's what it's all about. Either sweat equity or currency equity, right? It's how you spin it. So in short, how did you coin the wolf of wholesaling?
I got into wholesaling by accident.
Okay.
I worked on Wall Street, worked for Lehman Brothers for about 11 years, right?
Lehman Brothers. Those guys, right?
Before the crash and everything, right?
Right.
So, true story. I went to a gentleman, older man I knew from my father's bar from years.
Right.
I came in there from after work one day. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm about to leave New York. Because trying to figure out some things to do.
Right.
He said, hey, my mother has a house. She hasn't lived in it for like 13 years. And we're trying to get rid of it. She goes, I haven't paid a mortgage in 7 or 8 years. I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I saw the opportunity. My father goes, hey, you should buy that house. So I went to buy the house. And a friend of mine saw me driving down the block. He was driving down what was going on. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, looks at the house with me. He buys houses. So we go in the house and he says to me, he calls me 3 days later, you buying that house? I said, yeah. He said, what are you getting for? I said, 90 grand.
Right.
I'll give you 150 for it. Sold.
That was it.
That started wholesaling, brother.
Wow. You saw that little money? He's like, yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm gone.
Then I really got involved in it. I built an office probably with about 15 associates. I set it up like a real Wall Street type firm with a boardroom and everything.
Right.
And we were going from county to county all through New Jersey.
And just like that, you got to beast it.
Yep.
Wow.
Started doing like 30, 40 deals a month.
That's part of your success today. Before we jump back into it, let me share something with you. Recently, I worked with someone who thought they only had one mortgage option. After taking the time and understanding their goal, we found a strategy better than expected. This is why I love what I do. Everybody's situation is different, and every mortgage should be built around the person, not the other way around. If you would like to have that same conversation, schedule a mortgage strategy session using the link in my show notes. Now let's get back to the show. So I'm gonna talk about your favorite subject. I saved this for the end because I know we can spend all day on this, but we're gonna keep it short because we already know when it comes to Jersey City, Bruce Alston name is mentioned.
Oh yes.
So
not always good either. And I'm fine with that.
Of course, man. You work. I mean, between you and your family, right?
Yep.
There's a lot has been done.
Yep.
Some people are in good positions because of what you've.
Hopefully.
And
some will say or not.
Well,
but that's okay.
Opinions are what they are. So let me ask you this, man. What's going on in Jersey City? You're hearing some complain about the taxes. You're hearing about the gentrification. You're hearing about mass transportation. You're hearing about there's no place to park. You're hearing about the governance of people are just fed up. They don't know what's happening. You're hearing new construction coming up, new developers pouring money, but those who live on Kennedy don't have a place to afford their meals. What's going on? We got to talk about that.
I'll tell you this, and I'll try to make this up, and I'm not going to try to say anything like. I always try to give a new administration time to adjust, try to find their footing and everything, right?
Right.
When the old administration, the Fulton administration came out in 2013, right? Mm-hmm. Even at the end of the Healy, I think both of those mayors will tell you Bruce was very critical in Healy's end and Fulton's beginning, very end. But I think it comes a point where even though you might not agree with his governing decision, mm-hmm. you understand there's people who do, right? And it has some direction on it, right? Now, I didn't agree with everything. Steve, I consider a friend. Former I consider a friend.
Right.
Not everything I ever agreed with him. I got on him about the Pompidou. I didn't like that.
You got to challenge it. Yeah, right.
Challenged it, right? What bothers me about this new administration is there is a hole. There is, I think Mayor James Solomon is a very smart man, right? I just don't believe that this scale of governance, right, at this time, mm-hmm. that he necessarily doesn't have the best team around him, right? I believe it's very, you can have all the education you want in the world. You can be Yale, Harvard, George Washington University. Right. You can have but there's certain type of grit that you need to run an urban city like Jersey City, right? Mm-hmm. You can't tell me, right? You can't play cute with me when I understand politics. You can't stand there on the podium on your inauguration and say, Mayor Roz Rocker in Newark, his administration is the model of progressive governance, right? Mm-hmm. And then you say Steve Fulop was borderline corruption, right? Mm. Hate to say it, but there's been some people arrested in Newark. And I'm not going to say it's the fault of Roz Baraka, but every administration has some bad apples in it, okay?
Sharp James was there.
Exactly. So what I go on to say is that I just think this administration is making some governance choices in terms of how they want to deal with the budget that does not fit Jersey City. You can't be on the campaign trail saying that you're going to change who collects our garbage and then still with the same contract, okay?
Right.
You can't tell us you're going to go after these developers, right? Mm-hmm. And then have an audit that's long overdue on the tax abatements and not produce it. Right. You can't tell us that you're going to raise taxes at the rate of inflation and then raise them 20%.
Right.
Not when the city has assets that they could use so people are not suffering. It's not pretty. It's not going to get any better, I don't think.
Right. And
when people lose hope in the first 7 months, right, that needs to be told. Like, I don't have a problem sitting down with anyone in administration. I've met every mayor since 1974, since Jordan.
Wow.
I know every one of them, right?
Before I was born, by the way.
Exactly. So And I'm saying, I happen to go to school with Mayor Jordan's son, right? I happen to meet Tommy Smith through my great uncle that worked for City Hall. I know Jerry McCann, right? I've met, Harvey Smith. I knew Mayor Coochie before us. Again, Mayor Smith, Brett Schundler, Glenn. I just don't see institutional knowledge in City Hall right now. That's a problem.
So the reason I'm talking about it, right? Because I get the phone call, hey, my mortgage went up. Your mortgage, if you're in a fixed 30-year mortgage, that doesn't go up. What goes up is your taxes and insurance. Jimmy, I'm scared. I just bought this. Everything's gonna and I get it. And I have friends that live in Jersey City, and I asked them about this, and all of a sudden, you know how the algorithm works, and I'm getting, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. Look, I love Jersey City. I go out to eat in Jersey City. I think, my opinion, it's the happening spot between my wife and I. But when you hear and you see all these new developments happening, and then you pass on to those who all they want to do is live and have a good life, a 20% increase, what's going on?
Okay.
And you've seen others come out on social platforms. He could have done this. He could, and I don't have a game in this. I just want, let's talk about it to be about. Let's talk about what's happening, because I want others to tap in. Because if you have the wisdom and knowledge on this, maybe someone can lean into you and tap into you. This
is the double talk that I tell people that goes on presently in City Hall. Okay, we go to the state, we apply for emergency transitional aid, we get 120 million.
Right.
It's announced midnight. Mayor's sitting on like he's giving one from the Oval Office. We got Raj Mukherjee outside the State House like, yeah, I secured this historic aid. But nobody tells the people it comes with a 15%, 20% tax increase. That's transparent. That's a transparency issue.
Right.
No one tells us that the city council was not in on those negotiations with the state. No one tells us that a state monitor now will be coming in, right? Mm-hmm. No one also tells us, frankly, what the mayor's vision is. Is it time to be scared?
So let me ask you this, right? And obviously we're hearing one side. Let me be objective a little bit. What if this current administration can say, maybe because of the old ways you guys have been doing things, led us to here today? What would you say to that?
I would say, and being fair, open the books. Show us the numbers. As the people I've seen, there's people that I've seen that used to give it to Steve, the administration on fiscal policies, like a Esther Whitner, that probably knows budgets better than anybody I know, and an Yvonne Balser, that is saying, no, you're choosing to tackle this deficit the way you want to do it. There's things that could be, this is simply what I tell everybody. If there's a $130 million hole, right? This mayor has chosen that I want to pay it all up at once. With the other past administration, spread it out where it could be paid out over time. That's a governing choice. That's the difference.
I wanted to talk about this, one, because this is affecting, the community, their pocketbooks. But two, I want to make sure, for safety reasons, police and fire, you're not borrowing from another town. You're not relying on other services from their town to support saving one's life. Because I don't want to hear a situation or want someone's family to go through grief when something could have been done if we would have paid attention to it. So when we talk about budgets, it's safety, it's life, and it's currently how you live in day to day. And we watch the cost of things go up, not by 1 or 2, but like 3-4 times the amount that one's making. And many are on fixed income. So it's the portion that does well, they're gonna be all right. I'm more about the little people, right? And that's what I care about. This is why I'm talking about this with Bruce. And I'm not gonna have the answer, but
I don't think anyone has the answer.
I just want us to be transparent. What's going on in this beautiful city of Jersey City?
Even with like the way the mayor is attacking the budget, there's supporters to it, I'm sure. Right. It's two different philosophies, two different governance styles, right? Mm-hmm. But what I'll tell people right now, and I hear people mention gentrification. This is not gentrification. Gentrification has been going on in Jersey City for the last 40 years. This right now is starting to be a remigration for people of color, starting to move back to the South for less cost and everything, right? Like right now, saying is people can't afford the Jersey City. It's not meant for you to move to Jersey City unless you have. Right now, it says if you're not making $200,000 a year, do not move to Jersey City.
Yeah,
and you still might be struggling,
right.
Depending on your. That's the truth to it. If you're not making that type of wealth, right, can't afford to live in Jersey.
And this is why they call Bruce Alston the Chronicle Chief.
I hope so.
Because what you know with the governance, what you know with small business, what you know with your portfolios, what you know with your relationship, this is what helped you get to a position where you're at today, and where some can still lean on you for certain things if they're looking for it.
You and I both know, as people in real estate, people used to say, oh, go buy your properties. Go buy. People ask me honestly, why are you buying a $700,000 two-family home? Mm-hmm. You're not making money off that.
Given the expenses out today, no.
You're not making money off that.
No, you're not.
You're like I tell people, you really got to think.
Right.
It's easy to say, go buy the block. You can't afford the block.
No.
You can't afford the sewer hole.
You can ask Mayweather that question.
Exactly.
Right. He thought about that, and obviously, he probably will be boxing again just to pony up some of that money. And I'm not trying to make shame of it. I'm just trying to bring light to it. Like, we see folks thinking that buying a portfolio, it makes sense and it feels good, but you have to ask yourself, where you buying it at? What's that price point? What someone was doing 8-10 years ago with flipping homes, those margins are not the same today. And so you have to be very careful and understand, like, if you're getting into something, maybe doing it with someone else so you don't leverage all that risk. And then 2, understanding the expenses, because the population is changing. Taxes and insurance are going. It used to happen like every 2-3 years. Man, it's like every 6 months something is coming up, and towns are reassessing. It's just a lot going on.
I hear people saying, and I argue with people about this, and I say to them, you really got to build what markets you're going to deal to build a portfolio. Jersey City is not a building portfolio market anymore. It's just not. It's just being truthful to it. It's a renter's market. That's why only 26% of the people own homes in Jersey City. It's the truth. So someone now is like, hey, how do we solve this? I said, listen, that's a 30-year job if you were trying to do this. Like, we're not just going to flip a switch. Mm-hmm. This is going to, I mean, no offense, not trying to be funny, but you might have a chance when Mayor Solomon's daughter may be mayor, right? But and it's not on the mayor either, right? Mm-hmm. It's just Jersey City transformed from a blue-collar town into a white-collar town over the past 40 or 50 years, right? So it was going that way, So that's what I tell people is that when we say, oh, Jersey City is the economic engine of the state, we bring in more money, more revenue, but you don't give the last administration any credit for that? Because, hey, do we like the houses being built? No. We're building housing. We're housing people. We're not building communities.
Right.
I mean, that's what I tell people. Affordable housing, it sounds nice, but are we building affordable homes for people to purchase?
Right.
That's the bigger scale.
I'm happy we're able to unpack all this. So, Bruce, man, if someone's looking for you, where can they find you?
Listen, you always go to the Hudson County Chronicles, right? But people know people within my network. You can find me on Facebook under the Wolf of Wholesaling, or I should say Bruce Alston, Mr. Biz Connect, or just Bruce Alston. I do a lot more social, like with the politics and everything, right? As far as like consider myself some type of transitioning, right? I'm in like a better space, right? COVID kind of took me through some times. Like I lost some relationships. I lost some business opportunities then, right?
Okay.
That really made me almost like, whoa, like what's going on, right? That rocked me.
Right.
And I'm just recovering from that. But the one message I want to tell everybody is like, listen, fight for that dream, man. You got to fight for that dream. And sometimes that means fighting with yourself. That you know, like sometimes you got to, you know what? Sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am that dude. Sometimes you got to look at yourself and say, I'm not ready. You know, like people say talking to yourself is crazy. Everybody talks to themselves.
Right.
You might not do it out loud, but you're constantly thinking in your mind, right? But I see some good things can still happen. Like I tell people, be cautious, be aware, right? But there's always something coming after. It's always something coming after. Like, hey, my biggest hope, and I say this truly, is that a year from now, I'm sitting here with you and I'm saying, Mayor James Solomon's the best mayor Jersey City ever had. I'm hoping I can say that. Hoping I can say that 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It's not personal, my critiques, right? Same thing with anyone else, like in the political space, business space, right? I'm really in that mindset, and it's maturity, and it comes with age, I guess, right? I'm in my 50s now, right? And I want everybody to win. Everybody can't win, but if I can help you win, I want you to win. So I say that like where it can be a little brash, like in my approach, but I think it's like, I tell people, I don't know how to do phony anymore. Like, I will call friends up and be like, yo, you effing up. I want that same return, you know? So that's what I tell people.
Man, I appreciate you. Everyone, you know where to find me on your favorite streaming platform. Let's Talk About It by Jimmy. And again, I appreciate the time you took to break me down, man.
Listen, man.
My man.
Pleasure.
Get Jay Slowski up here. Jason also made this happen, right? We got to make sure we plug him in. Jason, he's a Jersey City guy. He's an ambassador when it comes to police and fire, and he continues to do the good work that the public always wants.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you again, Bruce. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Hey, listeners, are you looking to improve your home comfort and save on your energy bills? Let's talk about Seal Power. They've been awarded Energy Star Sustained Excellence Award, seen on Good Morning America, the New York Times, and World News. Seal Power is dedicated to keeping your home cozy while saving you money. Check out their website for tips and incentives and more at CIELPOWER.com. Stay comfortable and save with Seal Power, where comfort meets efficiency. Follow them on Instagram for updates and more, and let's talk about it as well. Thank you.